A new storm is rising in the Middle East. This storm could turn into a big hurricane at any time. We are talking about Iran, which has started a verbal war against the United States that could at any time turn into a real war. Recently, Iran displayed its tough stance against the United States. But why? What happened that Iran is now ready to confront a superpower, the United States? In today's episode, we will try to find answers to some such questions. Actually, nuclear talks are going to take place between the United States and Iran, regarding which US President Donald Trump has commented that he's not very confident about the success of the talks. Therefore, discussions have intensified in international corridors about the upcoming nuclear talks between the two countries. Meanwhile, Iran has also issued a threat. Iran's foreign minister, Aziz Nasirzadeh, has said that if any kind of military conflict occurs, it will target all US military bases. International media, looking at the deteriorating relations between the two countries, is speculating the possibility of war. This statement has not only created a stir in international politics, but has also become a reason for further increasing tensions in the Middle East. After this warning, the United States has started withdrawing non-essential staff from its embassies in Iraq, Bahrain, and Kuwait. Along with this, there was a stir in the global oil market, and oil prices saw a 5% increase, which is being seen as a sign of a possible conflict. However, the United States has stated that it will take all possible diplomatic measures to avoid war. It is worth mentioning that the nuclear talks between Iran and the United States are currently going to be held in Oman, and these talks could determine the direction of global politics. The United States wants Iran to shut down its uranium enrichment program, while Iran considers it a violation of its sovereignty. Iran says that its nuclear program is entirely for peaceful purposes and there is no reason to stop it. In the meantime, Iran has tested its new ballistic missile, Qasim Basir. This missile is a direct challenge to US defense systems as its wide range is about 1200 kilometers. Additionally, this missile has an advanced guidance system and countermeasure resistance capability. Iran claims that this missile could pose a serious security threat to the United States and its allied countries. The testing of this missile indicates that Iran is modernizing its military capability and strengthening its defensive measures rather than avoiding any military action. It is noteworthy that the Global Nuclear Monitoring Agency has found that Iran has failed to meet its non-proliferation obligations for the first time in 20 years. The proposal, passed by the Board of Governors of the International Atomic Energy Agency or IAEA, is at risk of being sent to the United Nations Security Council. However, Iran insists that its nuclear activities are entirely peaceful and it will never attempt to develop or acquire nuclear weapons. It is worth mentioning that in 2015, Iran made a historic agreement with 6 world powers. Under this agreement, Iran agreed to limit its nuclear activities and provide more access to the IAEA in exchange for relief from international sanctions. Therefore, if these talks between the two countries fail, the threat of another military conflict in the Middle East will certainly increase. Differences between US and Iranian officials are increasing day by day, and if this situation becomes more complicated, the risk of war will rise further. Currently, the situation in the Middle East is extremely delicate. The growing tension between Iran and the United States could turn into a major conflict at any time. Meanwhile, diplomatic talks are ongoing between the two countries, but it is difficult to predict whether these talks will succeed in avoiding the conflict. Currently, the global community's eyes are on the talks that will take place in Oman to see whether this dialogue will pave the way for peace between the two parties or mark the beginning of another war. A significant agreement is going to take place between the United States and China regarding the supply of rare earth elements. Under this, China will supply rare earth metals and magnets to American countries. In return, the United States has eased some export restrictions on technology. However, this agreement is still awaiting the final approval of leaders of both countries. It is worth mentioning that China's dominance in the supply of rare earth elements has been a concern for American industries. China currently controls approximately 60% of the global production of rare earth elements and about 90% of their processing. These elements are extremely important in fields such as electronics, defense, and clean energy. In April 2025, the UK economy saw a 0.3% decline, the largest monthly recession since October 2023. The main reason for this is the 10% tariff imposed by US President Donald Trump on British products. This led to a €2 billion decline in exports from the UK to the US, the largest monthly drop to date. Additionally, the increase in national insurance contributions and the end of residential tax relief also impacted domestic spending. Due to this recession, the Bank of England is considering further cuts in interest rates. The joint military exercise Shakti 2025 between India and France is going to be held from June 18 in La Cavalerie, France. The aim of this exercise is to enhance strategic cooperation and mutual understanding between the armies of the two countries. It is worth mentioning that the Shakti exercise is a biennial military exercise between India and France. A battalion of the Indian Army and soldiers from the French Army's 13th Foreign Legion Brigade will participate in this exercise. This exercise will promote interoperability, friendship, and cooperation between the two countries' armies. Notably, this year marks the 8th edition of this joint military exercise. So viewers, let's end the discussion here and note today's question. The growing tension between Iran and the United States will seriously affect the global economy. Comment.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.